This
we are going
conference
to
will now
discuss.
be recorded.
Okay, coming to this today's class. Good afternoon, students. So we are going to discuss in the today's class the stability analysis of an infinite soil slope. Just a minute, please. Just a minute. Network problem. Please, any one of you give me the response. Is my voice audible to you? Any one of you, please give me the response. Is my voice audible to you? Network problem, please. Can you hear my voice clearly? Okay, thank you. Now coming this today's class. In the today's class, I am going to discuss with you the stability analysis of an infinite soil slope of portionless soil. In the introduction of this soil slope, I explained the types of soil slopes. Basically, the soil slopes are two types: natural soil slope and man-made soil slope. After that, I explained the second classification, infinite soil slope and finite soil slope. Infinite soil slope means the soil slope of very long or very large height. That is called infinite soil slope. It is occurred in sloping sides of the hills because of erosion of rock, because of depositions. The infinite soil slopes are formed on the sloping sides of the hills. And in this discussion, we consider an infinite soil slope, and we assume the soil in that infinite soil slope is only portionless soil, that is similar as sandy soil or silty soil. And we know that the infinite soil slopes are subjected to translational failure. Just now I explained the infinite soil slopes are subjected to translational failure. In translational failure, the critical failure plane is a plane surface, not a curved surface. It is a plane surface and it is parallel to the soil slope. So with this, we are going to discuss the stability analysis of an infinite soil slope of portionless soil. In this discussion, please everyone listen this. In this discussion, we are going to discuss the derivation of equation for factor of safety. The derivation of equation for factor of safety of an infinite soil slope of portionless soil. By using that factor of safety, we can study whether this infinite portionless soil slope is stable or unstable. So, in this discussion of stability analysis of an infinite soil slope of portionless soil, we are going to discuss the derivation of equation for the factor of safety of the soil slope, infinite soil slope of portionless soil. Please watch this discussion carefully. The soil slope is infinite soil slope. The material is portionless soil. So please follow these steps carefully. The stability analysis of an infinite soil, an infinite soil slope, an infinite portionless soil slope depends on whether the soil is in dry condition or submerged condition or in steady seepage condition. This is very important. So whenever we are discussing the stability analysis of an infinite portionless soil slope, we have three conditions of the soil in the soil slope. First condition, the soil is in dry condition, that happened in summer. The second condition, soil is in submerged condition. The third condition, soil is in steady seepage condition. Submerged condition means the entire soil slope submerged in water. Seepage condition means, steady seepage condition means the water is flowing in that soil slope. Submerged condition, steady seepage condition happened in rainy seasons. So the stability analysis of, please listen everyone, the stability analysis of the infinite quotientless soil slope depends on whether the soil in that soil slope is in dry condition or in submerged condition or in steady seepage condition. So in this discussion, we are going to discuss the stability analysis in dry condition of soil, stability analysis in submerged condition of soil, stability analysis in steady seepage condition of soil. For these three conditions, dry condition of soil, submerged condition of soil, steady seepage condition of soil, we are going to discuss the stability analysis of an infinite quotientless soil slope. That is this discussion. So in this discussion, we have three conditions or three cases. First condition, the soil is in dry condition. So first we assume the soil in the soil slope is in dry condition. For that dry condition, we are going to discuss the stability analysis of an infinite quotientless soil slope. So first we consider the soil slope is in dry condition. So please everyone follow this discussion carefully. From now onwards, lot of mathematics we are going to discuss in stability of soil slope. So we consider the infinite quotientless soil slope, and we are going to discuss the stability analysis of that infinite quotientless soil slope when the soil in the soil slope is in dry condition. To discuss this dry condition, please watch this diagram. Anyone please give me the response. Can you see this slide on your cell phones? Please give me the response. Can you see this slide on the cell phones? Okay, thank you. Now check that image on the screen. In that image, this line AB indicates the infinite. Please everyone check this. The line AB indicates the infinite quotientless soil slope. It is on the sloping side of the hill. So here this AB is the infinite quotientless soil slope. With horizontal, let that soil slope makes an angle I. So with horizontal, the infinite quotientless soil slope in dry condition is making that angle I. We know that this infinite soil slope subjected to translational failure. At the instant of failure, the failure in infinite soil slope is translational failure, not the rotational failure. In the rotational failure, the failure plane is a curved failure plane. The critical surface of failure in the rotational failure is curved surface, whereas in translational failure, the critical failure surface is a plane surface. So like this. So in the diagram, this line CD is the critical failure surface. So this is the critical failure surface. About this surface CD, we assume the infinite soil slope AB subjected to translational failure. Since AB is an infinite soil slope, the failure of this infinite soil slope is translational failure. We assume this soil slope AB subjected to translational failure about this failure plane CD. This is CD. It is straight line because the CD is a plane failure surface. The plane failure surface happened in translational failure. So in this image, we have two lines. One is AB, next one is CD. AB is the infinite soil slope. CD is the failure surface, the critical failure surface. About this surface CD, about the surface CD, we assume this infinite soil slope subjected to failure. We know that in translational failure, the critical failure surface is a plane surface. So this is straight line. The plane surface indicated by the straight line CD. In the translational failure, the failure surface is parallel to infinite soil slope. We discussed already in the types of failures. In translational failure, the failure surface is parallel to the soil slope. So here AB is the infinite soil slope, portionless soil slope. CD is the critical failure translational surface. Critical failure translational surface. These two lines AB and CD parallel to each other. Take H is the vertical distance between the infinite soil slope AB and the critical failure surface CD. H is the vertical distance. Since this is soil slope with horizontal making the angle I, the failure surface CD also makes the same angle I with horizontal. Now by using this image, what are there in the image? Infinite soil slope AB making the angle I with horizontal, followed by the translational failure plane CD. Between the surface CD and the soil slope AB, what is the vertical distance? H. The surface CD also makes the angle I with horizontal. So check this explanation carefully. We consider the infinite portionless soil slope AB making an angle I with horizontal. Always the infinite soil slope subjected to translational failure. In translational failure, the failure surface is a plane surface parallel to the soil slope. So in this infinite soil slope, the failure plane parallel to soil slope. We assume CD is the translational failure plane at a vertical depth h below the soil surface AB. So this is the diagram. Now we are going to discuss what is the factor of safety of this soil slope AB. What type of soil slope? It is an infinite portionless soil slope. What is the factor of safety of this soil slope AB? To discuss the derivation of the factor of safety for this soil slope AB, we are going to consider between the surface AB, between the surface CD, we are going to consider a small portion of soil mass that is called soil prism. So check this diagram. So to discuss the stability analysis of the soil slope AB. Stability analysis means the derivation of equation for factor of safety of the soil slope AB. To derive that factor of safety equation, we consider the soil prism between the soil surface AB and the failure surface CD. This is the soil prism. The soil prism is of vertical height h. The soil prism is of inclined width b. Check these two dimensions carefully. We consider the soil prism a small portion of soil, not the entire soil, please. We are not considering the entire soil. We consider a small portion of soil between the soil slope AB and the failure surface CD. So in this image, the top line is the soil slope. The bottom line is the failure plane. So between these two surfaces, the soil surface, soil slope surface and the failure plane, I consider a small portion of small prism of soil. Check this soil prism. The soil prism vertical height is h. The soil prism inclined width is b. So in this soil prism, the area, normally we assume area is equal to width into height. But in this diagram, the width b is not perpendicular to height h. The width b is the inclined width, whereas this height is the vertical height. So here the area of this soil prism is not equal to b into h. Then what is this area of soil prism? So please everyone focus on this diagram. Normally we assume the soil prism ABCD is a rectangular prism. So the area of this soil prism is width b into height h. But in this diagram, the width b is not the horizontal width. In the rectangle, height h is vertical, width b is horizontal. Then the area of rectangle is width b into height h. But in this diagram, the width b is not horizontal. The width b is inclined. Since width b is inclined and the width b is not perpendicular to height h, the area of this soil prism is not equal to b into h. So, to discuss the stability analysis of the soil slope AB, we are going to consider this soil prism ABCD. By using this soil prism ABCD, we are going to prepare the factor of safety equation of this infinite portionless soil slope AB. So everyone focus on this soil prism between the soil slope AB and the failure plane CD. H is the vertical height, B is the inclined width. So check this soil prism ABCD. Now please give me the response. Can you see this image on the cell phones? This is a very important discussion, dear students. Please give me the response. Can you see this image on the cell phones? Can you see this image on the cell phones? Okay, please look at that image. In that image, we consider the soil prism independently. We consider the soil prism ABCD. This is soil slope AB. This is the failure plane CD. So check this soil prism. In this soil prism, H is the vertical height, B is the inclined width, not the horizontal width. So the area of this soil prism is not equal to H into B. To find out this area of the soil prism ABCD, find out this horizontal width of the soil prism. Find out this horizontal width. You know that with respect to horizontal, the surface AB making the angle I. So consider this horizontal. With respect to horizontal, the surface AB making the angle I. I need this horizontal length. To find out this horizontal length, take cos alpha in this right angle triangle. Cos alpha is equal to adjacent side, that is this horizontal length, divided by hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is equal to B. So in this right angle triangle, cos I is equal to, in this right angle triangle, you know that the surface AB, that is infinite soil slope, is making the angle I with horizontal. So consider this right angle triangle in the diagram. Cos I is equal to this adjacent side divided by the hypotenuse, that is equal to B. So this horizontal length is equal to B cos I. So in this soil prism ABCD, the horizontal width is equal to B cos I. Now this area of soil prism ABCD is equal to H into B cos I. So the area of this soil prism H into B cos I. We are discussing the first condition, dry soil. So in this soil prism ABCD, we consider the soil is in dry condition, that is partially saturated. So take gamma is the bulk unit weight of the soil in this soil prism. Area of the soil prism is H into B cos I. And consider the bulk unit weight of the soil in the soil prism is gamma, because the soil is in dry condition. So we are going to discuss the further mathematical concepts here. So here the horizontal length of the soil prism ABCD is equal to B cos I. The height of the soil prism is equal to 1. Consider the length of the soil prism on the z-axis, that is in this particular direction along the z-axis. Consider the length of soil prism as unit length. Otherwise, take the thickness. H is the height. B cos I is the horizontal width. Take the thickness of this soil prism as unit thickness. So the thickness is unit thickness. The height is h. Horizontal width is b cos I. So you can find out the volume of that soil prism. So the volume of soil prism per unit thickness, that is 1 meter thickness. So the volume of soil prism per unit thickness is equal to height h into horizontal width b cos I into the thickness 1. So that volume is equal to h into b into cos I. This is the volume of the soil prism ABCD. We consider the first condition, soil is in dry condition. Assume gamma is the unit weight of the soil in dry condition. You know this definition of unit weight. Unit weight gamma is equal to the weight of soil W divided by volume of soil. That is the definition of unit weight. Gamma is equal to weight of soil by volume of soil. Volume of soil is HB cos I. So the weight of that soil W is equal to unit weight gamma into volume of soil HB cos I. This is this weight of the soil. So we calculated the weight of the soil prism ABCD W. The weight W is equal to unit weight gamma into volume of this soil prism, that is H B into cos I. So please everyone again follow this discussion carefully. In this unit 2, stability analysis of soil slope, we started the first soil slope stability analysis. In that first case, we consider the stability analysis of an infinite quotientless soil slope. We are going to discuss the stability analysis of an infinite quotientless soil slope. So in this discussion, we are going to prepare the equation for factor of safety. By using that factor of safety, we can study the stability of soil slope. So in this stability analysis of infinite quotientless soil slope, we are going to discuss the derivation of equation for the factor of safety. You know, the infinite soil slope is of very long length, normally occurred in sloping side of the hill, and the soil in this infinite soil slope is in 3 conditions. In the summer season, the soil is in dry condition. In the rainy season, the soil is either in submerged condition or in seepage flow condition. So for all these 3 conditions, dry condition of soil, submerged condition of soil, seepage flow condition of soil, we are going to discuss the stability analysis of the infinite quotientless soil slope. So first we consider the soil in the infinite quotientless soil slope is in dry condition. So this is the first condition. So we are going to discuss the stability analysis of infinite quotientless soil slope when the soil in that soil slope is in dry condition. We know that the infinite soil slope subjected to translational failure. In translational failure, the critical failure surface is a plane surface. It is parallel to the soil slope. So in this diagram, AB indicates the infinite quotientless soil slope, and this soil is in dry condition. The soil in this soil slope is in dry condition. This infinite quotientless soil slope with horizontal making the angle I. By conducting surveying on this soil slope, we can find out this angle I. That is very easy. By conducting the surveying on the soil slope, we can find out this angle I made by this soil slope with horizontal. Since it is an infinite soil slope, it is subjected to failure along this translational critical failure surface CD. The surface CD is a plane surface, that is straight line. It is not curved surface because it is translational failure surface. So about this surface CD, we assume the side slope AB subjected to failure. In the translational failure, the side slope, that is AB, and the failure surface CD parallel to each other. So the surface CD also makes the angle I with horizontal. Let H is the vertical distance between the side slope AB and the failure surface CD. To discuss the stability analysis of this infinite side slope in the dry condition, we consider a small soil prism. We consider a small soil prism between the soil slope AB and the failure surface CD, that is the soil prism. To discuss the stability analysis of this soil slope AB, we consider this soil prism. The soil prism is in between the soil slope AB and the failure surface CD. H is the vertical height of the soil prism. B is the inclined width of the soil prism. So the area of this soil prism is not equal to H into B because this B and H are not perpendicular to each other. So we are going to find out that area of the soil prism ABCD. To find out that area, first we calculated the horizontal width of the soil prism. Here B is the inclined width. This small b is the inclined width of soil prism. So we calculated this horizontal width of the soil prism B cos I. Now the area of this soil prism is H into B cos I. The area of this soil prism is H into B cos I. Consider unit thickness in the perpendicular direction. Take unit thickness of this soil prism. So the volume of this soil prism is height H into horizontal width B cos I into unit thickness 1. So the volume of this soil prism is H into B cos I. Take the unit weight of dry soil is gamma. You know that unit weight is equal to weight W divided by volume H into B cos I. So this weight W is equal to gamma into H into B cos I. That is the equation for the weight W of the soil prism ABCD. So we calculate in this discussion the weight of the soil prism W, that is equal to gamma H into B cos I. We call this gamma as the unit weight of soil in dry condition. Now coming to this discussion. So here we consider the soil prism. Just now I explained, we consider the soil prism between the soil slope AB and the failure plane CD. We calculated the weight of the soil prism W. W is the weight of the soil prism. It is acting vertically downward direction. You know that the surface CD, please everyone observe this. We know that the surface CD with horizontal making the angle I. Now consider this right angle triangle. In this right angle triangle, here the angle is I. The surface CD with horizontal making the angle I. Here the angle is 90. So the remaining angle is 90 minus I. So check this angle carefully. Here this angle is 90 minus I. So the weight W of the soil prism on the surface CD, the weight W of the soil prism is making the angle 90 minus I. Resolve this weight into two components. Please follow this. Resolve this weight into two components. One component parallel to surface CD, that is T. Resolve this weight into two components. One component parallel to surface CD, that is tangential component T. Other component of weight W perpendicular to surface CD, that is N. Resolve this weight W of the soil prism What is the W? Gamma into H into V cos I. Resolve that weight W into two components. One component parallel to surface CD. So resolve this weight W. This is the direction of tangential component. Take this W to the surface CD. You will get the direction of tangential component downward direction. Similarly, resolve this weight W perpendicular to surface CD that comes in downward direction, that is called normal component. Since with this surface CD, W making the angle 90 minus I, this tangential component T is equal to W cos 90 minus I. That is the tangential component of weight W. Tangential component means the component of weight W parallel to surface CD. That is this tangential component T. T is equal to W cos 90 minus I, and this normal component in the downward direction N is equal to W sin 90 minus I. So on the surface CD, this is the failure surface. On the surface CD, we resolve this weight into two components, tangential component downward direction. The next one is normal component in the perpendicular direction. Tangential component T is equal to W cos 90 minus I, that is equal to W sin I. Normal component N is equal to W sin 90 minus I, that is equal to W cos I. So like that, the weight of the soil prism W resolved into two components, tangential component T, W sin I, normal component N, W cos I. Check this direction of tangential component. Please focus on that, every student. Look at the direction of tangential component T. Tangential component T acting in downward direction. This tangential component T parallel to this soil mass. You know that if the force is parallel to body, we call the force as shear force. When the force is parallel to the body, that is soil or whatever it may be, we call this T as the shear force. So this tangential component T is acting in the downward direction. It is the shear force on the soil mass. This shear force T creates the shear stress in the soil mass. The direction of the shear stress is in downward direction. Because of the downward shear stress in this soil mass, the soil slopes moving in downward direction. That is the reason for this failure of soil slope. Because of this tangential component T, the direction is downward direction. This tangential component T produces the shear stress in this soil mass. The direction of shear stress is in downward direction. That shear stress is causing the downward movement of the soil mass in the soil slope. So because of the shear stress, the entire soil mass moving in downward direction leads to failure of this soil slope. So the force causing the failure is this shear force T. We are calling this as mobilized shear force. In the previous classes, some students asked me, what is mobilized shear strength? Mobilized shear strength means the shear force or the shear stress causing the failure. So at the instant of working failure, the shear stress causing the failure of this soil slope is this component T. Whereas this N is normal component. This normal component N produces the normal stress in this soil mass. This normal component N perpendicular to the soil mass. To this soil mass, the normal component is in perpendicular direction. So this normal component produces the normal stress in the soil mass. So we resolve this weight of the soil prism W. What is the W? Gamma into H into V cos I. We resolve that weight W into two components. One is tangential component T in the downward direction. Other one is normal component N in the perpendicularly downward direction. This tangential component T is W sin I. Normal component N W cos I. The failure of this soil mass in the soil slope is due to this tangential component. So we consider this tangential component T as the mobilized shear force. The shear force causing the failure is this tangential component T. Now go to the next discussion. So on the plane CD, we resolve that weight of the soil prism W into two components, normal component N, tangential component T. Normal component N is equal to W cos I. We know already this W. W is equal to gamma HB into cos I. This is W. Weight of the soil prism W. Gamma HB cos I into cos I. So this normal component N is equal to gamma HB cos square I. And the other component is tangential component parallel to surface CD. And the tangential component T is equal to W sin I. That is gamma HB cos I. That is W into sin I. So this tangential component T is gamma HB cos I into sin I. So on the surface CD, the weight W resolved into two components, the normal component N gamma HB cos square I, the tangential component T gamma HB cos I into sin I. So check this soil prism again, please. Everyone check this soil prism. You don't get these details in the notebooks. So check this diagram carefully. This is the soil prism we consider in the discussion ABCD. The soil prism of unit thickness. The thickness is unit thickness. The inclined width is B. The inclined width of soil prism is B. The vertical height of soil prism is H. So this is the soil prism we consider. We calculated the weight of this soil prism W. W is equal to gamma HB cos I. We resolve that weight W into two components. The weight of this soil prism W resolved into two components. One is normal component perpendicular to the surface CD. This is the failure surface. Dear students, please check this carefully. This is the failure surface CD. This is the soil slope AB. The top surface is the soil slope AB. The bottom is the failure surface CD. On this failure surface CD, we resolve this weight W into two components. One component perpendicular to surface CD, that is N. Other component parallel to surface CD in the downward direction, that is T. Just now I explained this normal component N is equal to gamma into H into B cos square I, and this tangential component T is equal to gamma into H into B into cos I into sin I. Due to that normal component, please listen this carefully. Due to this normal component N, the surface CD subjected to the normal stress sigma. Since that component N perpendicular to surface CD, because of that normal component N, the surface CD subjected to the normal stress sigma. We know that stress is equal to force divided by area of this plane, bottom plane. Area of this bottom plane. Please check this. Area of this bottom plane. Can anybody tell what is the area of this bottom plane? Can anybody give me the answer? What is the area of this bottom plane? Anyone give me the answer? What is that area of this bottom plane? Not the area of prism, please. Area of this bottom surface. What is that area? It is B into 1. So check that. Thank you. That is regular 101. Thank you. So here the area of this bottom plane is B into 1. Then the normal component N is acting on this bottom plane. That normal component N produces the normal stress sigma on this bottom plane. The bottom plane is the failure plane. That is translational failure plane. The tangential component T is acting in downward direction. That tangential component is parallel to surface CD. This tangential component T. Since this tangential component T parallel to surface CD, we consider that as shear force. The tangential component T is the shear force on the surface CD. That shear force T causes the shear stress tau on this surface CD. So because of the normal component N, the surface CD is subjected to normal stress sigma. Because of the tangential component T, the surface CD is subjected to shear stress tau. We know that stress is equal to force by area of the plane. Here this plane, bottom plane area B into 1. So observe that determination of normal stress sigma and the shear stress tau. So on the surface CD or on the plane CD, the normal component N produces the normal stress. The normal stress sigma is equal to normal component divided by area of that plane CD. The plane area width B into thickness 1, B into 1. Whereas this normal component N, just now we discussed, N is equal to gamma HB into cos square I. This is normal component N divided by B into 1 is B. Cancel this B in the numerator and denominator. You will get the equation of sigma. Sigma is equal to gamma H into cos square I. This is the normal force acting on the failure surface CD, equation 1. Because of the tangential component T, the component T is parallel to surface CD, so we consider it as shear force. So because of that tangential component T, the shear stress developed on the surface CD, that shear stress tau is equal to shear force T divided by area of the surface CD V into 1. We know that this tangential component T is equal to gamma HB cos I into sin I divided by width B. So this B will cancel. The magnitude of shear stress tau is equal to gamma H cos I into sin I. Check the direction of that shear stress on the surface CD. The direction of that shear stress tau is in the downward direction. This shear stress tau is bringing this entire soil mass in the downward direction. So because of this shear stress tau, the soil mass in this soil slope subjected to downward movement, causing the failure of this soil slope. So in this soil prism or the entire soil slope, this shear stress tau causing the failure. So we consider this tau as the mobilized shear stress. Because of this shear stress tau, the soil mass starts moving in downward direction. Since this shear stress tau is the reason for this failure of the soil in soil slope, we consider this tau as the mobilized shear stress. Mobilized shear stress means the shear stress developed in the soil slope at the time of failure. So here this tau causing the failure of this soil mass and the soil slope. So we consider this tau as the failure shear stress. So the shear stress tau causing the shear failure on the surface CD. So the soil slope AB subjected to failure because of the shear stress tau. We know that when the soil slope subjected to failure, the shear strength of soil preventing the failure. Already I discussed it with you. Two types of forces are there in the failure of soil slope. First force causing the failure, second force resisting the failure. The force resisting the failure is the shear strength of soil. We know that we can calculate the shear strength, that is the maximum resisting shear strength. We can calculate that maximum resisting shear strength by using Coulomb equation. According to Coulomb equation, shear strength S is equal to C plus sigma dash tan phi dash. This is actually Terzaghi equation or Coulomb equation. So according to Coulomb or Terzaghi, the shear strength S is equal to quotient C plus sigma, that is normal stress, sigma into tan phi. Phi is angle of internal friction. We know that in this discussion, the infinite soil slope is quotientless soil. Since in this discussion, the infinite soil slope is quotientless soil, the quotient C in that soil is 0. For quotientless soil, the quotient C is equal to 0. So the shear strength S is equal to, C becomes 0, the shear strength S is equal to sigma tan phi. Apply that in the Terzaghi language. According to Terzaghi, the shear strength S is equal to sigma dash tan phi dash. Sigma dash is called effective stress. We call this sigma dash as effective normal stress. Sigma dash is equal to total normal stress sigma minus pore water pressure. That is the Terzaghi effective stress equation. Terzaghi effective stress sigma dash is equal to normal stress sigma minus pore water pressure. The pore water pressure develops when the soil is in seepage flow condition, that is saturated condition. The pore water pressure in soil develops only in the seepage flow condition. But here the soil is in dry condition. First condition, soil is in dry condition. In the dry condition, the pore water pressure is 0. When the pore water pressure is 0, the effective stress sigma is equal to the total normal stress sigma. Since in this dry condition, the pore water pressure is 0, there is no seepage water in the dry condition. Once there is no seepage water, there is no pore water pressure. If there is no pore water pressure, then the effective stress sigma dash is equal to the total normal stress sigma. So according to Coulomb or Terzaghi equation, the shear strength of soil S is equal to C plus sigma dash tan phi dash. Here the soil is quotientless soil. C is equal to 0. Here the soil is in dry condition. So this effective stress sigma dash is equal to total stress sigma. And phi dash is angle of internal friction between the soil particles. So the shear force or the shear strength of the soil in this soil slope AB is given by S is equal to sigma tan phi dash. Already we calculated this normal stress sigma. We know that sigma is equal to gamma h into cos square I. Substitute that sigma here. You will get the shear strength of soil in this infinite quotientless soil slope in dry condition. S is equal to sigma tan phi dash. Sigma is the normal stress on the surface CD. We know that sigma is gamma h cos square I into tan phi dash. This is equation 3. This shear strength preventing the failure of soil slope, whereas the shear stress tau in the equation 2. This shear stress tau causing the failure of soil slope. So in this discussion, we determine the magnitude of two forces. One is the force causing the failure, that is equation 2. This is the force causing the failure, the shear force causing the shear stress causing the failure, gamma h cos I into sin I. And in the equation 3, we calculated the force resisting the failure, that is the shear strength S, that is gamma h cos square I into tan phi dash. Please remember the definition of factor of safety with respect to shear strength. We know that the factor of safety with respect to shear strength Fs is equal to the maximum shear force resisting the failure divided by the shear force causing the failure. This is the mobilized shear stress. The shear stress causing the failure is called mobilized shear stress. We know that the factor of safety with respect to shear strength Fs is equal to the force resisting the failure divided by the force causing the failure. The force resisting the failure is shear strength S. The force causing the failure is shear stress tau. S is equal to gamma h cos square I into tan phi dash, and this tau is equal to gamma h cos I into sin I. Cancel this gamma h in the numerator and denominator. Cancel one cos I, and here we have cos I divided by sin I. Bring this cos I to the denominator. You will get this Fs is equal to tan phi dash divided by sin I divided by cos I, that is tan I. So in the infinite motionless side slope in dry condition, the factor of safety of the side slope is tan phi dash divided by tan I. Check this equation 4. In this equation 4, phi dash, the angle of shearing resistance of the soil in side slope. By conducting the experiments, field experiments, by conducting the cone penetration test or the standard penetration test on the side slope, we can find out the phi dash value. And by conducting the surveying on the side slope, we can calculate the I value. So by knowing that phi dash value and I value, we can calculate the factor of safety of that infinite motionless side slope. Fs is equal to tan phi dash by tan I. If the factor of safety is more than 1, the side slope is safe, no failure. If the factor of safety equal to 1, the side slope about to failure. If factor of safety less than 1, anytime the side slope subjected to failure. So by using this equation 4, we can study the stability condition of the infinite motionless side slope in dry condition. Because in the dry condition, factor of safety is equal to tan phi dash by tan I. By conducting standard penetration test or the cone penetration test, we can find out the phi dash value. And by conducting the survey, you can find out the angle I. So you can calculate the factor of safety of infinite motionless side slope. By observing the factor of safety, we can study the stability of the infinite motionless side slope in dry condition. So with this, I am going to stop the today's class. This is the derivation of the factor of safety of the infinite motionless side slope in dry condition. Again, we have two more cases. Second one is submerged condition. Third one is steady seepage flow condition. Next class, I will explain those two conditions in this infinite motionless side slope. Okay, students, with this, I am going to stop the class. If you have any doubts regarding this derivation of Fs, please ask me. Derivation of this factor of safety Fs. If factor of safety equal to 1, the slope is about to failure. The side slope is about to failure. If it is greater than 1, it is stable condition. So you can calculate the phi dash value in the field. You can also calculate the I value in the field. So by using that equation 4, we can find out the factor of safety. Regular 101 means, sir, what is it means, please? Regular 101, what is it means? Please switch on the mic, interact with me. What is that means? Okay. So this is the derivation of factor of safety of an infinite motionless side slope in dry condition. So for that side slope, the equation of factor of safety tan phi dash divided by tan I. Phi dash is the angle of internal resistance of the soil. By conducting standard penetration test, cone penetration test, we can find out that phi dash value. I is angle made by the side slope the horizontal. By conducting surveying. In surveying, we have an instrument called clinometer. By using that clinometer instrument, you can find out the soil slopes on the sloping side of hill. To find out that long inclined slopes in surveying, we use that instrument called clinometer. It is also there in the Google. You can search out that. That instrument is called clinometer. By using that clinometer, you can find out the anguli. Once by knowing that phi dash value and anguli, by using the equation 4, you can calculate the factor of safety of the soil slope. If the factor of safety more than 1, soil slope is stable. Factor of safety equal to 1, that is called critical condition. Factor of safety less than 1, that is in most dangerous condition, about to failure. Or anytime it is subjected to failure. It leads to landslide. So this is the stability analysis of the infinite oceanless soil slope. In which condition? Dry condition. Then in the next class, I will discuss with you the submerged condition and the steady seepage flow condition in infinite oceanless soil slope. Okay, students, if nobody is having doubts, I am going to close the class. We will continue this discussion in the next class. Thank you.